Okay. Okay. First thing first. Let's start by having you take attendance. So I've put the attendance passcodes on the screen. Okay. So if you are taking a class in person, if you are physically in this classroom, the passcode is 9MF. Okay, so if you are taking a class in the classroom, you see the password is 9MFD9J. If you are taking it if you are zooming in from from a remote location, then the passcode is C09. Sorry, let me try this again. C0O9H8. Okay, so please take a couple of minutes to take attendance. I think, what time is it now? Yeah, I think Moodle should allow you to take attendance now. Okay, let's see. So, yeah, let's take a couple more. Let's take one more minute to do this. Okay. Are all of you able to pay attention? Okay, good. Okay, if you just came in, please take the attendance. And I'm going to, yes, so it is 9MFD9J. Okay. No, right? Can you help me keep an eye on the computer screen in case people on Zoom have something to say? Thank you. Okay. Right. So, intro to philosophy. Okay. Let me bring your attention to one thing first. Before I go on. So, you might remember that on Tuesday, I actually I'm gonna turn this thing off. Okay. So on Tuesday, I actually talked about the three sources of philosophy, the three things that lead us as human beings to philosophize and do philosophy. After class on Tuesday, I actually uploaded the original book chapter that this is based on to Moodle. So hold on a second, let me share this. Okay, so this is actually on the course Moodle page right now. It is actually from Carl. It's an excerpt from Carl Jasper's book, and he spends a chapter talking about the sources of philosophy. And so, as I mentioned on Tuesday, there are three sources of philosophy. First, there is the sense of wonder, and then secondly, there is doubt, and then thirdly, there is the sense of your own helplessness and your own fragility and vulnerability. So these are the three sources of philosophy. I am not going to I'm not going to go into more detail on this. But please, I just want you to know that it is on Moodle right now. So please take some time to have a quick look at it yourself. Okay, so what we're going to do today is to go into more detail on something that I start talking about on Tuesday, and that is the distinction between philosophy. the distinction between philosophy and religion. Okay, most of us, I think most of us have a pretty good idea of what religion is. But perhaps what is less clear is what philosophy is. I went to Great Lakes a few weeks ago to get a haircut, and I thought the person who was cutting my hair that I did philosophy at ISU, and that person asked me, "What's philosophy?" And so I did launch into a discussion of what philosophy is versus religion, because I'm not very good at delivering the lecture when I'm having my haircut. What I kind of did was I probably said a whole bunch of I probably said something really vague about how philosophy is about learning how to think, something like that. Okay, maybe it'll be a nice thing with that person to hear right now. Okay, actually, so we looked into the etymology of philosophy on Tuesday, right? Because philosophy it can be broken into the Greek words philo and sophia, right? So philo is love, and sophia is wisdom. So philosophy is the love of wisdom. Yes. It just occurred to me that if you have a girlfriend or partner named Sophia, then you are a philosopher because you love Sophia. Okay. But okay, that's neither here nor there. Religion, on the other hand, it comes from the Latin word religio, which means something like to bind, or to or to unite with. So, traditionally, if you are a religious person, if you believe in a particular religion, then you basically what you are basically doing is that you have a set of beliefs that bind you to something that is other than yourself, that is bigger than yourself. So if you believe in God, then you believe in a set of you believe in a set of teachings that bind you to God. And you could also say that you believe in a set of teachings that are supposed to unite you with God. So religion has to do with this kind of binding. So if you just look at the etymology, you would say that perhaps the difference between religion and philosophy is that philosophy is about the love, and religion is about binding. Love and binding are different, but love and binding are different, but although maybe they have a few things in common. But one gets the sense also that love is okay. I did a bit more reading on love after Tuesday, and what I did find out is that the love that we talk about when we talk about philo, is that philo is a love that is based on reason. So even in romantic love, right? When you love somebody, there's usually something that attracts you to that person. So there's usually a kind of reason. There's a kind of reason. There's a kind of reason for why you are attracted to that person or why you love that person. So philo is love that that is directed towards something because of something that attracts you in that thing. So if you love wisdom, that means that you are attracted to you are pursuing wisdom. You are attracted to wisdom because of something that that you find attractive about wisdom. I think so if you are a lover of wisdom, if you are a philosopher, you are somebody that seeks after wisdom. It so it is much. It's very much a process of sitting and studying. You may or may not. You may or may not have found the wisdom, but you are definitely, pursuing it. You're definitely in the process of pursuing it. You're going after it. Religion, on the other hand, religion, on the other hand, is about, it's more about finding yourself to a set of beliefs. It's more about accepting a set of beliefs in the hope that that by doing so, you will be able to, you'll be able to get something, and that something could be, that something could be maybe attaining a certain measure of a certain peace of mind. It could be maybe going to heaven after you are dead. It could be maybe living, having a certain purpose in life, so you won't have to wake up in the morning and ask yourself, why am I doing all this? So, so, so I think, religion is more about finding. It's about accepting something. It's about accepting something that gives you gives you certain peace of mind, gives you a certain purpose in life, and all of those things. Whereas philosophy is about the search for for wisdom. So it may be, right. It may be that as a result of philosophy, as a result of doing philosophy, maybe you will stumble upon a set of beliefs that you can really accept, and you choose to find your life by. So it could be that maybe for some people, philosophy leads to religion. It leads to you accepting a set of beliefs. But maybe for some people, it's more open-ended. Maybe some people just live their entire lives, just searching for stuff, searching for, meaning or whatever. So let's there is a very interesting article in the textbook. I think on Tuesday I did ask you to have a look at pages 121 to 127 of the textbook. So let's if you have the textbook, hopefully do. Let's take out the textbook and look at it together. Okay. There's a very interesting article on page 125 of the textbook. It's titled "What is Religion" by Keiji Nishitani. So what I'm going to do, right? What I'm going to do is basically I'm going to read directly from this article, and then I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause at certain places to and to think about certain things in the that I just read. And as usual, like the last time, please feel free to jump in and raise your hands if you have any questions. It looks like somebody just had a question on Zoom. Let's see what it is. Oh, what was the attendance passcode? Okay, sorry guys, and anticlimax. Okay, if you're on Zoom, the attendance passcode is C0 lowercase o 9H8. Okay, did you guys get the attendance passcode? I don't remember who posed the question. Okay, let's see. Haley Austin, Riley Gorman, and Patricia Peterson. Do you guys have the attendance passcode now? Okay, answer is yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, good. Problem solved. Okay, very good. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Okay, let's begin. Let's look at page 125 of the textbook. This is an article by the by the Japanese philosopher Keiji Nishitani. Okay, what is religion? Okay, so I'm gonna start reading now. What is religion? We ask ourselves, or looking at it the other way around, what is the purpose of religion for us? Why do we need it? Though the question about the need for religion may be a familiar one, it already contains a problem. In one sense, for the person who poses the question, religion does not seem to be something he needs. The fact that he asked the question at all amounts to an admission that religion has not yet become a necessity for him. In another sense, however, it is surely in the nature of religion to be necessary for just such a person. Wherever questioning individuals like this are to be found, the need for religion is there as well. In short, the relationship that we have to religion is a contradictory one. Those for whom religion is not a necessity are for that reason the very ones for whom religion is a necessity. There is no other thing for which the same can be said. Okay, this is let's pause here for a few seconds. So let's take a couple of minutes to talk about, let's talk about the things that we need. Okay. Well, we need food. Obviously, we need to breathe air. Some people might say that we need arts and education. Now, some people might disagree with this, but okay. So it's very clear, right? It's very clear that we need food and we need air. Because we know very well what the purpose of food and air is for. We need to have these two things to to stay alive. Do we actually need arts and do we need arts and education? Okay, I mean you are here obviously to get an education. You are here to get an education. Do you need it? No. Okay. Is it because you will probably still can survive without it? Makes sense, yeah. So one can say that we don't really need education because education does serve a purpose, right? It serves to give you an education, and then depending on who you are and depending on who you ask the question to, different people would have the different answer to what is the purpose of education. Some people would say the purpose of education is to have a degree so you can get a job. So other people would say, well, the purpose of education is to expand your mind and broaden your mind so that you become a person of expanded horizons. You can see the world in a better, broader and hopefully better way. So education does have a purpose. And even though people disagree about what is the purpose of education, it is clear that it does have a purpose. And the purpose of education is such that, it's not really a purpose that we need to fulfill in order to survive. Even if you are not educated, if you have no education at all, you can still survive. But the purpose of food and air is such that, the purpose is so basic, staying alive, that if you don't have food and air, you die. So you definitely need food and air. Okay, what about religion? Some people are religious. Some people are religious and some people are not. And there are people who say that you don't. There are people who say I don't need a religion. I mean, I get by fine without a religion. And what Nishitani is saying here is that those for whom religion is not a necessity are for that reason the very ones for whom religion is a necessity. It's weird. Why is that? So it's like if somebody tells you that I don't need a religion because I'm pretty happy the way I am, right? I have a well, I think I'm pretty healthy. I'm pretty healthy. I have a job that that pays okay. I like my job for the most part. I have friends that I hang out with. I have hobbies. I have family, and I enjoy spending time with them. So all of these things lead to me having a pretty full life. So I have all of these things, right? Family, my job, and friends, and all of these things. I'm able to live a pretty full life and a good life with all of these things. So why do I need a religion? But Nishitani actually thinks that uh, somebody like me who says that I don't need a religion, it is somebody like me who needs religion the most. Why? Sorry, I forgot your name. Can you say Thomas? Thomas? Okay. Yeah. Why do you think you say that?
That's just because the person that asks why he needs religion needs to because if he asks why, then he's not content on himself already. He's asking, do I need religion? And if that's the case, then probably yes, you're not content to do that already.
Yeah, it could be.
There's another variable to see if you can be content with that. It's just going down the average of life or fulfillment is.
It could be. Yeah, that could be what's going on. It could be that maybe the very fact that I'm asking why do I need a religion, maybe that already betrays it already betrays a sort of a kind of a certain sense in which I'm not totally happy with my life. Could be.
Would it have to do with like some kind of purpose? Because even though you're living life doing just fine, having your hobbies on, you still have to want some kind of purpose in your life.
Could be, and I think maybe that's what Nishitani is getting at. That because later on we say that the only way to the only the religion is a bit mysterious because it is very clear with food and air and arts and education we know what the purpose of all of this is for. Religion is a bit mysterious because it's not immediately clear what is the purpose of religion. And Nishitani basically says that the only way to get a sense of this, what is the purpose of religion, is to ask another question. And the other question is, what is the purpose of life? Or another way to understand this question, to think of this question is to ask, what is life for? And Nishitani basically is trying to say that religion's purpose is to give you a sense, is to give you a kind of answer to what is the purpose of life. But suppose I'm stubborn, right? Suppose I say, look, why can't the purpose of my life simply be to have a job, live my 60 to 80 years on this planet, don't harm anybody, and don't harm anybody, don't try not to do anything bad to other people. What else? Try to enjoy my time with myself and other people. Basically have a lot of fun and try not to harm other people, and then I die. So I could say to Nishitani, look, I mean, why isn't that good enough? Why do I need a religion?
You need a purpose to truly live.
Truly live. You need a purpose to truly live. Okay. Let me file that way in my mind for a second. Okay, Thomas.
Isn't it artificial fulfillment? It's completely artificial because you don't need religion. You don't need anything. You can just go back to the basics, sleeping, drinking, eating, fucking, just to pass on your genes. And that would give your fulfillment just on biological.
All right.
Technically, the church as part of it.
Okay, sorry, what exactly is artificial? Religion. Yeah. So in a way, that may be a response to him, because you say that if you are saying you need a religion to have I think the way you put it was you need religion to have a true purpose in life, something like that. Yeah. And then your response is, but isn't this idea of a true purpose kind of contrived and artificial? I mean, the only thing that is real, right, is the enjoyment that I have when I'm eating food, or sleeping, or having sex, or all those things, right? Or the enjoyment I have when I'm sharing a good joke with my friends. All of these things are real. I feel it right now in the moment. So if you say that there is a purpose that is more true than that can be provided by religion, yeah, isn't that a bit artificial? Who knew that was so much that yeah, I can try to answer my own question, but that's not very fun. What would you say to something like that?
Can you repeat that?
Okay, so if you say that there is religion provides us with a kind of a true purpose in life, and I would say to you, what are you talking about? I mean, I enjoy all the activities that I do in life. I enjoy eating, sleeping, drinking, having sex, enjoying good jokes, enjoying good movies. Isn't that good enough? Why do I need a true purpose?
For me, I would say that all those are like just kind of surface things that you can enjoy in the moment. But like religion and stuff is something you can look forward to in the future, and after death, you can look forward to that and enjoy that after. And that's just something to give you something to live for, is to go into the future looking at that religion.
Future. I don't mean to be rude, but when I was listening to you say whatever you just said, you kind of make religion sound like a kind of insurance policy. It's like you should believe in these things so that, or we don't know what's going to happen to you after we die, so we should believe in like maybe God, so that in case, I don't know, in case there is God or something, in case there is an afterlife, then we are covered. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry if that's rude, but does religion strike you that? Okay, I know that's okay. Does religion strike you as being something like insurance policy?
In hands of their religion, right? Most cases, yeah.
I see. Okay. Okay. Once I get into this state of mind where I'm making light of something, I can't seem to get back to a serious mood. So I have to get back to a serious mood somehow. Yes.
If I could respond to myself, maybe religion will be, as we were talking about yesterday, how it's based the philosophy of asking why am I here or anything like that. It shows that we are complicated creatures with complex thought that allows us to continue on. So, with the artificial fulfillment, it becomes actual.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point.
Maybe, and perhaps Ryan. I mean, tell me if this is what you're getting at. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it could be. Maybe you could be saying that. Look, I mean, it's nice to be able to enjoy all these things with food and sex and great movies and great friendship and all that. But these things are all impermanent. They don't last. No, they're all going to go away someday, right? Whereas with religion, if you believe in believe in God, God, at least the story holds that God is there for you. Not just in your afterlife, but God is there for you all the time, even here, right? You might, if you have a great friendship, you might break up with your friend, and then you won't have a friend. But God is unconditional. God is always there for you. Again, right? If you enjoy this or that activity, maybe you won't be able to enjoy football anymore if you have a serious injury. So everything in life, football, friends, sex, or they're all impermanent. They can go away at a moment's notice. But God is always there. He's always there for you in this life and in the hereafter. So maybe religion serves a purpose in the sense that it is kind of, setting aside the question, right? I don't know whether God exists or not, but setting aside that question, the idea is that if you believe in something like God, then you can, devote your life, you can bind your life to something that is more permanent, that is not as fleeting as the things that you might do as a human being otherwise. Perhaps, I don't know, perhaps that is the purpose of religion. And
I kind of wanted to bring up like Buddhism is a religion, but it doesn't really believe in an afterlife, especially what I know, I might be wrong, but it's kind of more believe that life is suffering and you need to like your aspires for the future or whatever. Like a religion is you wanting to have more wisdom so that you will suffer less and less but just knowing that you will eventually living so that you will not suffer as much as like you just suffer is what they say.
So in Buddhism 101, you'll probably learn something like the Four Noble Truths, which is that all life is suffering. Suffering is caused by desire or cravings. And then number 3 is all life is suffering. Suffering is caused by craving or desire. And so the objective our objective should be to get rid of craving and desire. And the way to get rid of craving and desire is to follow this thing called the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path. Oh gosh, I can't remember what all the Eightfold Path is. Yeah, what is the Eightfold Path?
That having right speech, right actions, right livelihood, right efforts like exercise, right mindfulness, right concentration, right thoughts, and right understanding.
Cool. Okay, so and then of course, the reason why Buddhism is such a robust and lively tradition is because there are probably a bunch of Buddhist philosophers who disagree with each other as to what exactly is right speech and right understanding and right all those things. So but don't worry about that. Assuming that there is such a thing as right understanding, right speech, right livelihoods, then the idea is that if you follow those things, then you will achieve a certain degree of freedom from your desires and your expectations, and then your life will be more peaceful. So the idea may be that whether you are Christian or Buddhist, there seems to be something in common, and that thing in common is this: is that if you believe in a religion, whether it's Christianity or Buddhism, you are subscribing to a set of beliefs that will allow you to go beyond the things of this world. What do I mean? Okay, so if you are Christian, right, you would say that. Again, I'm not trying to represent all Christians here. I'm just saying that if you are Christian, you might say that the desires that you have in this world, the desires that you have in this world are not very important because the one thing that is important in this world is God and God's plan for you. If you are Buddhist, on the other hand, you would also say that, you would say that the desires in this that you have in this world are also not very important because what is important is to, is to live a life of right livelihood and right thought and all of those things so that you can achieve a certain amount of freedom from, from those desires. So in both cases, although Buddhism and Christianity are very different, I think what they have in common is that they allow you, they give you a way to they give you a way to achieve freedom from the fleeting desires and the fleeting circumstances of this world. So, pretty cool. So, yes, pretty cool. Have we answered the question of what religion is for? Kind of, right? I think, I think religion, I don't know. I don't know if at the end of the day, I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I agree completely with Nishikani that, because he seems to be suggesting that people need religion. Even people who say they don't need religion. That's what I think he's saying. At the end of the day, I'm not sure I agree with him. And here's why. You might need religion if you might need religion if you are somebody for whom the things of this world are not enough. So if you ever get to a point, right? If you ever get to a point where you decide that it is not enough to have good friendships, good relationships, good hobbies, and good food and sex and drink, if you ever get to the point where you decide that all of these things together are not enough for you, then yes, perhaps then religion could give you the answer to this problem. Religion basically comes along and says, look, all of these things are not enough for you. We have something else for you, and that something else is God or the Eightfold Path or anything like something like that. But I think, couldn't you imagine somebody who basically has thought about all this and say to himself, yes, all the things in this life, all the things in this world are not permanent. My friends are not going to last forever. My hobbies are not going to last forever. True, but it's okay. Sometimes I'll be happy, sometimes I'll be sad, sometimes I'll be miserable. But hey, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So if I'm going to accept that I'm going to be happy sometimes, no, life is not all roses, right? So if I'm going to be happy sometimes, I should also accept that I'll be sad sometimes. Yes. So if I can accept that I'll be happy and sad and miserable sometimes, and if I can accept the good and the bad of life just as they are, no matter how difficult they are, maybe I don't need religion. Maybe I don't need religion to give me any bigger meaning for all of this.
Have you heard of cosmicism from H.P. Lovecraft?
Cosmicism?
It's the belief that in the grand scheme of things, humans are particularly useless, that in the grand scheme of things, there are things way beyond our comprehension, we shouldn't try to comprehend them. That there are not gods, but beings way beyond our comprehension, and if we were to try to comprehend them, we would lose face. And that things are just here because they are here. There is no if, there is no then. We are just here.
Those things because I know very little about H.P. Lovecraft, but there's only one or two things I know about him. So those things that are beyond our comprehension, is Cthulhu one of them? Oh, Cthulhu, sorry. Interesting. Yeah, so, well, right. So the idea is that there are a whole bunch of things that are beyond our comprehension. And one of the things that are beyond our comprehension is that things just happen in the world, and we just happen to have popped into existence somehow. And perhaps at the end of the day, we shouldn't try too hard to find an explanation for all of these things. Now, if that's supposed to, how do I say this? In a way, right? In a way, somebody could try to spin this into a religion in the sense that somebody could say, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know, Taoism, where you just accept that things are the way they are and that's it. Is that what it's supposed to be? I mean, interesting. Yeah, well, so if that is what it's supposed to be, then whether you believe in Buddhism or Christianity or, sorry, what do you call this thing again? Cosmicism. Okay, like cosmic and then seism. Okay, so whether you believe, whatever it is that, whichever of these three, Buddhism, Christianity, or cosmicism that you believe in, you see, it's like, in all of these three cases, you are kind of you're kind of looking for a big picture, how do I say it? A big picture explanation of things, why things are the way they are, and then now the question is this: the question is that if religion is there to give you a big picture explanation of things, is it possible to live well in this lifetime without having a big picture explanation of things?
Yeah, it would be possible to set separate equals consent, and then that equals peace within itself. But does being consent go against your own nature? Is it like being willfully ignorant in a sense? Because like the you said, you question the religion is just why are we here? What's going on? If we choose to ignore that and go day to day, act like the things that are out of our comprehension we can't comprehend. Is that just going to destroy people?
Sorry, I missed the last thing you said. Is that doesn't matter what?
Is that just going to destroy us people?
Because of apathy.
Or nihilistic kind of thing?
Yeah. I don't know.
But a dumb question.
No, it's not. It's not a dumb question. No, I mean, you know, I know this sounds really trite, but they're not dumb questions. Well, I'm going to say something now, but I'm trying to find a good way to put all these together. Okay, apathy. Well, one could say, I mean, you know, one could say that if life, right? If life is something to be lived, then you know, then there are several strategies for living life. One strategy is to believe in Christianity or Buddhism and try to find a big answer for everything that's going on. Yeah, so that's one way to do it. But another way is to just kind of just be empathetic. I don't know, roll the punches, and just I don't know, just accept everything. You know, sometimes be happy, sometimes be sad, sometimes be miserable, and you get through it anyway, one way or the other. Right? I mean, it's not like if you like for example, if it is in your genes, right? If it is in your genes to die of terminal cancer, sorry, I know this sounds really morbid. If it is in your genes to die horribly of terminal cancer, it's not like believing in God is going to change that, or believing in Buddhism is going to change that. If it's in your genes, well, it's going to happen anyway. So if believing in God doesn't really make that kind of difference, then maybe it's okay to be apathetic. And but here's the thing, right? Here's some, this thing actually reminds me of something else. I think there are several philosophers who said that human beings by nature it is in our. Okay, so remember that Aristotle, right? On Tuesday, I quoted Aristotle. I said that Aristotle famously said that all men by nature desire to know, right? It's more than that actually. I think we can say that all men, or maybe most men by nature desire to make sense of things. So make sense of things. By make sense of things, I mean it's not just knowing. It's about people have a desire. Many people have a desire to want to have an explanation for why things happen to them, especially bad things, right? Because okay, so you see, if I get diagnosed with terminal cancer, you can give me, you can give me a scientific explanation of why it happened, right? You can say, oh, I'm not, my science is not very good, so, but I'm sure there's a entire scientific explanation for why cancer cells develop and things like that. So, if you go to the doctor's office, he'll give you this scientific explanation, right? So the scientific explanation, it will satisfy your desire to know, right? Because now you know how the cancer cells develop in your body and how you came to have stage 4 terminal cancer. But even if you know that answer, you still might be unsatisfied because you still might ask yourself, why me, right? I mean, there are lots of people, there are lots of people who don't take very good care of their bodies and they don't get cancer. But I try to live well. I don't smoke. I don't drink much. I try to eat healthy. And all that. So why me? Why does bad things have to happen to good people like me? And I think that is the thing. That is really the sticking point. Most people cannot get through life without asking this why me question. When bad things happen to them for no apparent reason, like cancer, the first thing that most people will ask is always, why me? Why does something so horrible have to happen to me and not, somebody else? Why can't I just pay somebody to have cancer for me, right? So yeah, to make a long story short, so religion, right? I think religion basically answers this big why question. Why you? Why me? Why is it me that has to go through this horrible suffering? And of course, if you believe in God, then you can come up with some kind of answer. It's somehow in God's plan and all that, and maybe you are like Job, right? Or if you believe in Buddhism, maybe there is an answer as well. But if you don't believe in any religion, if you just go with the flow or something like, if you're just apathetic, then there is no answer to this why me question. If bad things happen to you, very bad things happen to you, then they just happen. You just have to suck it up. Okay, so actually, I think we just found out what religion is for. I mean, religion gives you an answer to the purpose of life, but it also gives you a more specific answer. It answers the question of why do horrible things happen to good people? I think, yeah, I think religion basically exists to answer this question. Why do horrible things happen to good people? And so in a sense, I think to be human, I don't know how many of you, I don't know how many of you ever, ever think much about this question, but if you actually think about this question, right, then you will realize that what religion does is to satisfy, it kind of satisfies our craving for cosmic justice. Right, cosmic justice. No, I mean in the world, right? In the world that we live in, there is everyday justice. If somebody breaks the law, if somebody commits a crime, they can be arrested and punished and all that. So there is everyday justice, worldly justice. But if I suddenly get diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, it feels like somebody somewhere is screwing me. I don't know who that person is, but it just feels like somebody is screwing me because I haven't done anything wrong. Right? I'm a pretty good person. I live a pretty I eat healthy and all that. Why should I be the one to get stage 4 cancer? There is something really unjust about this. The universe is screwing me. So religion is is one way out of this problem. Religion provides an answer to my need for cosmic justice. It gives me a certain answer. It tells me why something so horrible has to happen to a good person like me. Okay. Do you? Okay, I know. Basically I've been talking non-stop for the last few minutes. Does this make sense so far? Okay, good. How much time do we have? Okay. Before I go on any further, those the 3 or 4 of you up in the van of Zoom, do you have anything to say to everything that I just said? Maybe answer no. Okay. Yes. They say that when you face God and nothing, you hear silence. Then the answer is no. So in this case, when you speak to Zoom and you hear silence, answer also no. Okay, very good. Okay, so yes. Oh gosh. I was going to talk about this later in the semester, but maybe we think of this as a kind of preview. You see, once we discover that horrible things happen to good people, then what happens is that what happens is there are several ways to deal with this situation. One way is to, as I said, turn to religion, right? So religion gives you a sort of answer that will make sense of all of this. You would say, maybe this is happening to you because it's punishment, or maybe this is happening to you because it's part of the God's plan. So religion gives you a sort of rational answer to this question. Another way is to basically be totally apathetic and just accept that things happen without reason, and that's that. Is there any other way besides turning to religion or being apathetic?
You continually depressed and become a philosopher.
Sure. And then, yeah, sure. And then if you become a philosopher, you can be an apathetic philosopher and just say, he's just gonna keep being very depressed and being or maybe I could maybe from depression I could then become angry. I could shake my fist at the universe, so to speak, and say, and I say something like this: the universe is so it's so unfair. The universe is so unfair. It is so unjust, and there is no sense in all of this. But I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue living anyway, because I'm not going to let I'm not going to let I'm not going to just kill myself just because the universe is unfair. So I'm going to continue to live, and continue to, I don't know, do whatever I'm doing in the face of the unfairness of the universe. There is a philosopher who basically described this as a state of rebellion. This is Albert Camus. So Camus would say, look, I'm not going to turn to religion, because I'm not going to turn to religion, because there's a sense in which if I turn to religion to give me an answer, to make sense of why all these horrible things are happening to me, it's a little bit of a cop out. It's a bit of a cop out, because it's like instead of facing bravely, instead of facing the absurdity and the unjustness of the universe bravely, instead of facing it head on, I'm basically trying to make myself feel better by giving myself an explanation for why things are the way they are. So Camus would say that religion is kind of a cop out. Yes.
Was Albert Camus he wrote the play?
He did.
Okay. I'll make it
Yes. When this whole pandemic first started, I tried to read it, but I decided it's too depressing. So I turned my attention to watching mindless Korean dramas. Yes. Oh, you read the play recently?
No, I've read little abstract stuff. I haven't read the whole thing.
Yeah. Perhaps I'll try to read it. Very appropriate reading for this time. Yeah. So and Camus, the heroes of all his novels, there are people who live in what you might call absurd situations. But a pandemic is an absurd situation because, well, none of us actually did anything to, none of us did anything to bring this pandemic about. It happened, and then because it happened, we now have to do all kinds of things like wearing face masks, social distancing, and not being able to go to bars. Well, not technically anyway. Maybe some of you do. But it's like there's a sense in which there is something absurd and unfair about this. I mean, I didn't do anything to bring about the pandemic. Why should I be punished? Why should I be punished by having to accept all these restrictions on my behavior? And so, and what's worse, right, is that the pandemic, it's not just COVID-19. Anybody can get infected with COVID-19. If you are a nice guy, if being a nice guy doesn't give you a free pass with COVID-19, you can still get infected and die just like any other person. So there is something, there is something very well, the way Camus would put it is that there is a divorce. There is a divorce between the mind and the world. So, as beings that have minds, as our minds always want, we always want there to be an explanation for why things happen, especially bad things, right? We want to make sense of things. Our minds always want to make sense of things. But the world seems to be indifferent to our desire for, for explanation. The world will continue to unleash pandemics and all kinds of natural disasters and disease upon us, regardless of what our minds want. So it seems that there's a huge disconnect between the human desire for order, the desire of the human mind for an explanation of things. There is a disconnect between that and the indifference of the world with regards to our desire for order. And this whole thing, this divorce between the mind and the world is called the absurd. So whether it's a pandemic or whether it is a personal diagnosis of stage 4 cancer, they all defy the desire of the mind for a nice explanation or an order. And so so if you turn to religion, according to Kamo, if you turn to religion to make sense of all this, it's kind of a pop-up, because now you're basically saying, my mind is unable to accept and make sense of all this injustice and chaos in the world. So I'm going to just turn to God and basically help myself to a set of beliefs that will enable me to that will enable me to make sense of what's going on. And Camus would say, okay, but isn't it more intellectually honest? Isn't it more morally honest to just accept that the world is senseless and absurd? Isn't that more intellectually honest than turning to God to help you feel better? Maybe it depends on, I don't know, maybe it also depends on which God you're turning to. Because, there is another philosopher by the name of Kierkegaard. And Kierkegaard basically said, look, I mean, turning to God is not it's not a free pass, It's not like if you turn to God, you will get a free pass from the sufferings of this world. If it so happens that there is a pandemic, you're still going to have to face the pandemic, even if you believe in God. Yes, again, right? If it's in your genetic makeup to suffer from this or that disease, you still suffer from this or that disease, even if you believe in God. So, turning to God, it's not really a free pass. In fact, God, if you think about the God in the Old Testament, in the Old Testament, God is actually a rather holy that sends forth the plague and all these things onto certain people. So God, I mean, turning to God is not really, if you think about it in that way, then turning to God is not really an easy way out. It's actually a sort of it takes a certain kind of courage to turn to God. It takes a certain kind of courage to basically say, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why all these bad things are happening to me. But I'm going to put my life into the hands of this God, and basically trust that even if my suffering would get worse, there is sense in all of this, even if I don't really know what it is, what this sense is. So it's a little bit like cosmicism, in the sense that you don't try, you believe in God, but you don't try to make sense of God's plan. You just kind of what's the word for this? Surrender. Yeah, you just kind of surrender. You just kind of surrender to the idea that God is doing something. I don't know what it is, but and I'm just maybe a small cog in that machine that is God's plan. And I'll go along with it, no matter how much suffering there is. I wouldn't turn away from that suffering because every single bit of this suffering is something that God has ordained. So Kierkegaard will basically be responding to Camus. He will basically say, look, Camus, you are taking religious belief too lightly. You are thinking that religious belief is just this, cop out, because you think that religious belief is kind of this easy, easy answer to all the sufferings of the world. But that's wrong. In fact, religious belief, to really believe in God is to really accept that there is all this suffering in the world and face all this suffering head on. Don't run away from it. If you get slapped in the face, turn the other cheek and say, slap me some more. You do that because you believe that if it is in God's plan for you to get slapped 1,000 more times, then you accept it and move along. And so if you believe in God in this kind of full-blooded way, right? I don't know how many of you remember the story of Abraham and Isaac, right? The one where Abraham was asked to sacrifice his son. If you are Abraham and God appears to you through an angel and says, "Thou shalt sacrifice your, one and only son to me," you do it. I mean, it's painful and all that. Nobody's going to deny that, but you do it anyway. Why? Just because God asked you to do so. So if you really believe in God in this kind of full-blood way, right? You're not just going through the motions. If believing in God is not just about going to church a certain number of times a week. If it's more about doing whatever God asks you to do, even if it's totally painful and it goes against all common sense, and you do it anyway, that is actually very difficult. Okay. Any thoughts, comments?
You're kind of saying that Kierkegaard just said basically life is like a religious happening, almost like just kind of a mix of religion and apathy. Because there's the religion, just kind of follow along with it, just because it's what you're supposed to do. Almost, it's just how I put it up in my head.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? I don't really agree with you that it is about, that Kierkegaard is about religious apathy, because again, right, if you are Abraham, and God, and an angel appears to you and says, and God wants you to sacrifice your firstborn, it takes something, right? You decide to obey God. I don't think you can obey God if you are just apathetic. You actually have to decide that, that I'm going to do this. So in this case, it seems that following God is not just this passive thing where you just kind of go with the flow. You actually have to do something that goes against your nature as a parent. Right? Yeah, it goes against your nature as a parent to want to keep the child alive and protect him. yeah, I mean, I don't think it's empathetic. Were you going to say something?
Yeah. So are you just trying to affirm that it is dishonest intellectually to turn to God as it is to the world? That you're sacrificing, some free will, just allowing yourself to be a subject of God's plan in a sense.
Do you think that? So do you think that Abraham is intellectually dishonest?
Yeah. He's going to kill some.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't really thought about this. So
Well, he would go off. Wasn't it a burning bush to kill some? That's how God presented himself.
was it a burning bush?
I honestly don't know.
Was it a burning bush? Really? Okay. I always thought it was the archangel. I always thought it was Gabriel, somebody that appeared to him.
I think the burning bush was what told Abraham to stop.
So Gabriel was the bush.
Huh? No, Gabriel was an angel that got sent to Abraham to tell him to do something. But when he went up onto the altar to actually do it, it was the burning bush of God that stopped him.
Oh, right. And then there was a lamb that appeared, or ram, and then he
Yeah.
said, "You keep the ram safe." Interesting. So was Abraham being intellectually dishonest? And you are saying yes because he chose to substitute his God orders for his own moral reasoning. Something like that.
Basically, it's a submission of his own thoughts for others. He didn't even question. He said, okay, I'll kill my son. Bush came. Okay, I won't kill my son. He didn't question why they asked me to kill somebody. They were told. I mean, I think it was like a test. The burning bush told him. So it was incredibly intellectually dishonest.
Yeah.
Could have kind of in his own head be like, this is, at least I don't think he could full on just, willingly, okay, I'm just going to kill my son. He obviously has a lot of thought in his head of, this is for the better, this is what I really need to do in order for these sort of things. So I think in the way he was aware, it depends on your perspective of who is, what's right and what's wrong. But I mean, for him, it's the more intellectual thing to do, put God first because he knows, what's best because he's the almighty being. Whereas here to go from the other side, this is my son, I know what's best because it's my life, instead of God. It depends on what your perspective, whether it be intellectual or not.
See, that's a good point. I wish I knew the story.
I think he would put more thought into it. I hope he did too. I know he's still aside that. Then I'd be on your side more.
Yeah. It's okay, hold on, let me see what the time is. Okay, I still have 2 more minutes. So if he says, right, if after thinking through the whole thing, he decides that he's going to sacrifice his son because it is, as you said, because it's good to follow God or something. This word good, it kind of it's a very strange thing to say that it's good to follow God in this way because normally when we say that something is good, we usually have kind of how do I say this? We usually can give some further reason for why it's good. Right? For example, it's good for me to make a lot of money because I get to provide for myself. All those things. It's good for me to not break the law and all that. But in this case, I mean, why is it good for you to obey God? I mean, it can't be because it's good for my son, because my son is going to die. It's not even, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is that in this case, the good cannot be. It's very hard to find a further reason to explain why this is good. And I mean, if Abraham were to, I don't know. I mean, in the story, did he even when he after he got the message from the angel, did he even have a talk with his wife or something? No, Sarah.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, I wish we knew the story.
Did Sarah even know about it? I mean, it's like I know, like I'm turning this into a modern story. Like, and then he suppose he does this. Suppose he actually goes here and sacrifices a son, and then Sarah learns about it, and Sarah gets really mad. He didn't even ask it. But okay, sorry, this is useless and weird. But I don't know. It's like well, what I'm trying to say is that usually if you decide that something is good, it's usually something that it's usually a decision that you can explain to other people. You can give other people an explanation for why it's good. So I'm not even sure if you would be able to explain to Sarah if you were to sit down with Sarah. I mean, all you would be able to say is, because God told me to do it. So I don't know. I kind of stopped with it. Okay, I have I have this spidey sense that tells me that some of you are probably feeling angsty at talking too much philosophy. And it's actually it's 2:15 anyway. So okay, so next week we are going to actually continue talking about God next week. So next week please look at those pages in the syllabus that I'm asking you to read. It's about, I think, 15 or 17 pages. And those go over the three main arguments for the existence of God. Okay, so we'll go into that next week. And okay, I'll see you next week.